Hello and welcome to First Look. Look with 2 zeros. I'm Young John, and today we're looking at what's possibly the future of gaming keyboards in the Turtle Beach Vulcan 2 TKL Pro. It uses Hall effect switches, which means you get to dictate how much of the key you press before it actually actuates, which is super exciting. But without further ado, let's take a look inside the box and see what you get. So this is the official box. This has a lot of information on it. On the top left is the company name, Turtle Beach. Bottom left is the model name, the Vulcan 2 TKL Pro. You can see by the picture, this is a white version of the keyboard. On the upper right, you have a US layout of the keyboard in linear switch. On the bottom side, you have some of the technical specs, package contents, and the system requirements. Windows 10 and above for software support, a USB 2 port, and an internet connection for driver installation. The back of the box shows the keyboard when it's all lit up, and you have a picture of the switch. This is the Hall effect magnetic switch. There are 2 tamper-proof stickers on the bottom. You see one here and one over there. For that, we'll get our trusty knife. And here we have our keyboard. The keyboard's protected in a plastic cover. Here's a quick start guide. You have your USB cable and a foamy wrist rest. And of course, don't forget your silica gel. And that's everything. Your keyboard, your foamy wrist rest, your paperwork, and your USB cable. All right, let's see what we got here. This is super light. Yeah, it's mostly made of plastics then, but it does have an aluminum plate on the top, right across. The keys are super thin, look at that. It's not quite standard size, but it adds to the lightness of the weight of the keyboard. Now, on the bottom, also plastic, but it does have rubber feet all across the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's got a 2-level foot. So you have a flat, then you have the smaller level here with rubber on the bottom again, and a second level there, also with a rubber bottomed foot. Right, so up on top is where you stick in the USB-C cable, and you stick in the other part into a USB-A port. The cable itself is 5.9 feet long, which is 1.8 meters, and it has a nice little Velcro strap for cable management. One of my favorite functions is the 3-function volume knob, volume down, volume up, and the mute. I love that. And then there's this. This is a soft piece of foam. It's very pliable, it's very comfortable, but it just feels really cheap, and I have a feeling in a few months it's just gonna fall apart, so this is what I think of it. The breakthrough here are the Hall effects magnetic switches. Now typically the manufacturers will be like, oh, we have mechanical gaming switches, we go as fast as 1.4 millimeters, or then we have optical switches, 1.2 millimeters, but none of that matters, because you get to control exactly how deep you press before it actually switches. With this keyboard, you get to control between 0.1 millimeter to 4 millimeters and anything else in between, which is amazing. You know what this means actually? It means that gamers can also use the same keyboard to do productivity work like typing essays and whatnot. And all you have to do is control the level of actuation. Set it low, 1.2, 1.4 for your gaming, and then you set it high to like 3 or 4 for your typing. All in one. So you hold down the function and you can go up and down. You see that? So it's 1.1234. It's 1.4 millimeter actuation. I'm going to keep going up. 1.5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2 millimeter actuation point. 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 3 millimeters, etc., until you reach a maximum of 4 millimeters in actuation point. 4 millimeter means you have to press all the way down. If you want it to be lighter, you do function and the minus sign, and then it'll go down again, and you control that using the minus and the plus keys. 0.1 millimeter might be just a tap on top of the key. Let's say we change the actuation point to 1.1, confirm, and now I'm just gonna lightly tap L. I haven't even touched it, and L is kind of being actuated. It's crazy. Now the news gets even better. Now because these are not mechanical, they don't touch anything. It's all magnetic, so the life cycle will be 150 million clicks. Not the pedestrian 100 million. This is 150 million. Now already your control of actuation is a game changer, but Turtle Beach takes it a step further and gives you more control using Swarm 2, which is available for your PC, to give you additional options such as, number 1, Rapid Trigger. Rapid Trigger lets you mash buttons faster. That's the easiest way to explain it. I think technically it lets you control, it's dynamically letting you control how much you release before you can press it again. So it feels faster when you press the button. That's the best I can explain it. Number 2 is multi-input. On the same key, you can assign up to 3 different inputs, multi-input. So let's say you have a key, you can have it do 1 action, 2 actions, and 3 actions if your control of your finger is that fine. So you can do actually 2 actions. For example, you go halfway to fire a weapon, and you go all the way down to reload the weapon, for example. The third function is new. Turtle Beach added it via firmware update. So this is called ReacTap. Now ReacTap remembers the last key you held down. This is mostly for directions, left and right, for example. So if you're the type of player that holds down the left button to go left, and then you kind of tap right to go right, and you release it, it remembers that your finger is still on the left key and it continues on the left. A lot of games don't actually work like that. You can be holding a key, like the left, and when you tap right, it'll stop, or it'll do something else, something crazy. So ReacTap fixes that. Now ReacTap normalizes it across most games. So if you're holding down the left and you tap right, it'll still remember that you're holding the left and it'll keep going left. It's pretty cool and it works, at least for all the games that I've tried. Now those 3 functions are customizable settings in Swarm 2, which is the software. Now don't forget that there's also EasyShift. That lets you assign secondary functions for all of your keys when you press the caps lock. Keep in mind, all of those functions and the EasyShift and whatnot all happen in game mode. So if some multi-input or some EasyShift doesn't happen to work, it's probably because you're not in game mode. Remember to go to game mode. Now you might think, oh, this is great, but I play more than one game. So is there a way to make it for more than one game? And you can with the different profiles. You can do up to 5 profiles and access 4 of them on your keyboard from F1 to F4. You can do profile 1 for your desktop, when you're typing, profile 2 for COD, profile 3 and 4 for the other 2 games that you play a lot, etc., etc. Now all of these settings and whatnot is made possible by the memory and the processors inside the keyboard. You wouldn't think this, but it uses an ARM Cortex M3 processor inside, and it's got 8 megabytes of onboard memory. Other gaming things, which is kind of standard to us, is a polling rate of 1000 Hertz. It's got anti-ghosting, which reliably gets the keys you do press and avoid the keys that you don't press near it. It's got AMO intelligent lighting. If you have other peripherals like headsets with lights, a mouse with lights, it'll connect it all together and make it flow in color. And finally, it's got customization in Swarm, which includes the Hall effects and the multi-input and all of that other good stuff that I've mentioned before. Let's download Swarm 2 and install it by going to turtlebeach.com. On the upper right-hand corner, click Software, Downloads, and you can search for the product, or you can select the product by going to Keyboards, select the product, Vulcan 2, TKL Pro, and here it is. Select your operating system, Windows 11 or 10, and download. And don't forget to remember exactly where you download it. So for me, it's in Downloads. Once download finishes, open your File Explorer or tap on Windows and type in File Explorer and click on that. And then remember where you saved it? I did mine on Downloads, and then install it. Once you've installed it, click on Swarm 2 and you will be greeted by your lovely keyboard. Click on that. I already installed the update to the firmware for this keyboard for ReacTap. So if you haven't done it, you want to go and update that by going to settings in the lower left-hand corner and search for updates, and you'll be guided through updating your firmware. So that's under settings. This is the page where you make most of your configuration changes, and on the right side is what you're interested in. You have your actuation point, you have your rapid trigger settings, multi-input settings. This is for controllers. I don't really use that, so I don't know. And ReacTap. Now, most of these are done in game mode. It'll say so right here. It says, please adjust these settings at game or EasyShift. I'm going to go to game input. And then if you look here, I have E set on rapid trigger and S set in multi-input. So you can see your different inputs. I put for the S key, I have S, F, and G just as an example. You can test your bindings, and then you can press S. And why is it only showing S over here? And that's because I didn't turn on game mode. So turn on game mode, function, and Windows key. Let's clear all, and if I press S again, it'll work like that. And it'll show you the actual actuation level of how much you're pressing your key. This is awesome. So that's this. These are all of the Hall effect switch settings. If you move down, or if you press this key here, it'll take you to key assignments. So this is the primary keyboard. Let's press S, for example, and it'll show you exactly what other keys your S is assigned to. There's a multi-input that I set up before. It shows that. For EasyShift, what does this key do? And I found something interesting. If you press M, the function key has this as the number keypad. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I thought that was kind of interesting. So that's the primary game mode EasyShift keys that you can set. Finally, lighting. So the main effect lighting, you can select different things like color wave, and it'll give you a simulation of what happens. You have snake, you have heartbeat, and basically you can set this using function and the function left and right also. You don't necessarily have to use this software. I want it fully lit, and it goes fully lit. Now here's an interesting thing. If you want to measure the Hall effect switches, you have 3 lighting effects. I'm going to turn these off. Now, if you press analog visualizer, you can see exactly how deep you're pressing the key. You can see it on your keyboard, and you can see it simulated right here in the software. Same for rapid trigger, same for multi-point. Now for multi-point, remember I set S as the key for multi-input? So if you click on this right arrow, I set it as red, yellow, and green. So you can simulate how deep you have pressed your key for the multi-input. It's really fascinating. Here you have macros. You can create a new macro or use one of the pre-made ones here with your favorite games. Here are the update settings. In Device Manager, you can see if your drivers are up to date, and then there are other devices from Turtle Beach. And that's Swarm 2 in a nutshell. So what do I think of this keyboard? Now, I've been using this keyboard for 6 months now as my daily driver. I really, really like it. I like it a lot. It's working consistently without fail. It's been great for my games. It's been great for my typing. When I'm making videos and reviews and whatnot. The only thing that I don't like is probably the keycaps. Quality of the keycaps feel kind of cheap. Like if you run your fingers along the edge, it feels like you can get cut by it. So the manufacturing of it isn't like, the greatest. And also, I don't like the font face. I mean, they're trying to get a secondary key like that, you see on the bottom. But normally on a keycap, you have the main letter in a big, big thing right in the middle here. Like this P, right? But here you have a dash or an underscore. Which one is it? It's like if you're a fast typer, you have to stop and you have to stare at it for a second. And it breaks your train of thought, and that's what I don't like about it. But it's a minor niggle in comparison to the great things that this keyboard brings you. I like how the keyboard feels. I like how the spacebar works across all the, the sides and the middle. My favorite thing, as usual, is the volume dial. It just works great. I really like how they put mute as a push button on the volume dial. I think all manufacturers should make that standard for every keyboard. The only people who wouldn't like this keyboard are those who want like heavy duty, like aluminum chassis with, heavy duty, clickety, whatever. Yeah, that's not it. This keyboard is for gamers who want to fine tune their control over how the keys are pressed. And I think that is, if looking at it from the forest to the trees, this lets you do kind of both at the same time. It lets you control overall aspect of what you're doing, and it lets you go and fine tune exactly to your game and specs how much your fingers press the keys. That's pretty much it. It's 2 thumbs up. Heartily recommended. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Turtle Beach Vulcan 2 TKL Pro. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to check out prices, we'll leave Amazon affiliate links down below in the notes. But don't forget to subscribe to the First Look with 2 zeros YouTube channel, and we'll see you all again next time.